Really excited and thrilled to have you all here. I'm Dr. Swati Mishra, founder director of Edu Abroad. Today we have a very special guest with us, our student who went through us to a very aspiring university, Boston University, to all the aspirants who are watching us today. Many of you want to go abroad, study abroad. So we have a special guest with us who will be telling us more about his experience, how he applied to BU, which other universities he applied to, and so on. Many questions around the same. And if you have any questions, do put them in the chat and we'll take them one by one. So let's start with Abir. Hello, Abir.
Hello.
Welcome to our channel.
Thank you.
And how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, very good. So, Abir, let's start with tell us something about yourself, your background.
Okay. So my name is Abhi Bajaj. Hello, everyone. I'm from Lucknow, India, and I'm currently pursuing business administration in Boston University. And I'm from a business family, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's a very logical choice
Yep.
why you chose business studies.
Mhm.
That's okay, but why Boston University? Because if I remember, you got admissions from other universities as well. You applied to UK as well and US, and you also get through University of California, San Diego. You got a very good scholarship there as well. But over that, you chose BU. So can you just elaborate why you chose BU?
All right, so let's choose the process of elimination first.
Right.
So we'll first come to UK. So while I was applying to the US, I had a thing in my mind that what if I don't get into a good university in the US? So why not apply to UK and like look, because there were good universities in UK
Right.
as well. So it was a backup choice.
So plan B.
Yeah, it was like a plan B, and like when we were discussing in the earlier
Right,
stages,
right.
we were like we should have
We
a
should
plan
have
B.
a plan
Yeah.
B and a plan C.
But yeah,
For
but thank
everyone.
God we never had
Yeah,
to go to plan
never,
B.
never go.
So while I was applying, I was very much inclined towards the West Coast, like the California
Right.
University of California, and like the all nine major
Right.
universities in California, and I got into some good
Yeah.
universities with a scholarship.
Yeah.
But like my parents, they were very much inclined towards the East Coast, and so in the East Coast there comes Boston, and then there was NYU and all these
Right.
universities. So while I was researching about Boston, so I came to know that in Boston there are seven major universities, including Harvard, BU,
Right.
MIT, Northeastern. So and then some of my parents' friends, their daughter, they studied in BU.
Right.
So I talked with them, and I came to know what the culture is there in
Right.
Boston, because the culture
So
in
you
California.
interacted with the alumni
Yeah, I
and the
interacted with the
current
alumni
students
and the
as
current
well.
students.
Right.
Like they were at that time juniors and seniors in BU. Now they are
Right.
graduates. So yeah, talking to them, coming to know what their life in Boston is, and I really wanted to experience the harsh weather over there, because growing up in India, it's very warm over here. So I was like, if I go to California, the weather would be pleasant, but then I
This is an interesting point.
yeah. So I was like, why not
So
explore
you want
Boston?
to take challenges.
Yeah, I'm a challenging person.
Yeah. So when you went there, how was the experience? You have completed your first year, right?
Yeah, I've completed
So
my first
how
year.
was the experience? And in fact, congratulations, you completed your first year with very good grades.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how was the experience?
All right. So when
Was SBU as per your expectation or beyond your
beyond. It definitely was beyond my expectations, because there were a lot of things that I came to know when I went to BU actually. Because
Right.
there's one thing getting to know about BU, and there's another thing when you actually go there and experience life over there. So when I first went there, earlier my parents, they were coming with me to US to drop me off. But then I was like, if my parents come over here, how would I feel independent? And then when they leave from Boston, it would be a bit challenging for me to like say
Even more
goodbye.
difficult.
Yeah, it would be more difficult. So BU actually held an orientation in Delhi 2-3 months prior.
Okay.
When I went to BU. So I went there, I interacted with the incoming freshmen, and had chat with them. We then built a group chat on WhatsApp, and then we interacted, and then we made a plan that 5-6 students will go from Nagpur.
Okay.
So we flew from Nagpur, and then all of us, we went there to BU. The first 2 weeks, I would say it was a bit harsh, because I studied in Lamartine College. It was an ISC board. So the studying pattern was way too
Right.
different compared to ISC,
Right.
because there was no practical application. There was not a lot of practical application in the ISC board. But then when I went to BU, the culture over there was a culture shock that I faced. The
Okay.
culture over there, and the way of teaching, the way of actually doing things, getting things done, it was completely different. So I would say like the first 2 or 3 weeks, it totally went there, and my grade of the first midterm, they were affected by that. But then as and when the time passed, I gained some experience. I came to know that yeah, things could be done like this.
Right.
There are, so eventually it comes. So it's difficult for everyone in the beginning, but then when you eventually settle, it's good.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about academics? Like how are the academics? What's the combination that you can choose? They are very flexible about it, right?
Yeah.
So if you can elaborate on that,
So I was a
what?
bit scared about the academics part when I went to BU because some of the seniors they told me that some of the TAs, the teaching assistants, they are not very helpful because they are
Okay.
underpaid. Yeah,
Okay.
and strikes are going on in Boston because they are underpaid. So I was like, what if I am
Yeah.
facing a doubt and I don't? Because in India we have the habit of getting tuitions, and
Right.
I knew if I'm going to BU, obviously there would be no tuitions. But when I went there, I actually came to know the system that how helpful the TAs are, how helpful the professors are. Even like US has a very strict work culture of Monday to Friday and Saturday Sunday everything is off. But then my professors they knew that people are international students over here and they like need help, so they were ready to help me even on Saturdays and Sundays, and like they used to give me the personal numbers that you could call me anytime and
Okay.
things like that. So it
They've
was
been
good.
very helpful throughout your
They were
journey.
very
So there are
helpful.
many students watching us tonight. They must be wondering because there are many myths actually students have. Okay, okay, they'll not be so helpful. Obviously, they have feel ki, okay, there'll be a cultural shock, which you also said ki there is, but adjusting and everything was pretty smooth for you, right?
Yeah, if I keep academics aside, like getting to know the college life, because I wasn't a hosteler in my school life, and I was a day scholar. So like getting to shift from a day scholar to the life of a hosteler and like saying
Right.
goodbyes to my family. So it was a bit tough, not on the academics part, but that adjusting it affected my academics. But people don't need to get demotivated because of that, because eventually it will be settled and everything will come to you eventually. Yeah.
And BU, it's a competitive university. So how you prepared for admission into BU? What were the challenges you faced? Did you do any profile building activities? So can you tell us more about that? Because I think all of us who have joined us today, they are very much interested in how to go about when applying to US. How is it as a destination, and what's the basically admission
Mhm.
process?
So I think so. There are two main process to apply to US, not UK, but US. So the first thing is obviously academics, because you need to get a set of marks,
Right.
and if you don't get the set of marks, they'll straight away reject your application and not even consider your application.
Right.
Even if you've got a Nobel Prize or anything, they won't consider your application. So obviously, and you need to get that thing from your grade 9th, 10th, and 11th and 12th,
Right.
because
Yeah,
when you
that's a very important point actually. Students should keep this in mind because US system is very different.
yeah.
They want to see your overall profile, academic as well as your personal from class 9th onwards.
Yeah.
So many students they don't know, and when they come to us, they are like, okay, we are already in class 11, so what to do about it?
So
So
I could very much relate to that, because when I came and joined EDU abroad, I was in grade 11th
Right.
also, because my 10th boards just finished and my grade 11th was starting. So obviously I used to feel a bit demotivated in the very beginning, because there were a lot of people who were way ahead of me in
Right.
terms of profile building. But as far as to the people who are like joining in grade 11th in the very beginning, you should look at it in a way that your academics should be good in grade 9th and 10th, and according to the marks that you get, then you need to like choose your
Select your
universities, and
universities.
then like you want to apply to Ivy Leagues or the tier ones or the tier twos, and then accordingly build your profile according to that. And then you need to research on the website of the universities as well, that what kind of people do they prefer. Like there are set of universities who would prefer people who are more inclined towards academics. There are people universities who prefer people who are more inclined towards extracurriculars. So you need to first research a university where you're applying for, or your dream university, and then build your profile and your career accordingly in grade 9, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
So can you tell us specifically what activities you do? Maybe one or two example.
So for my Common App,
Right.
there are 20 slots where you can fill your activities. So my top three I remember is that the third one was badminton, actually, because I used to play badminton a lot. I started playing badminton in grade 7, and then 8th, 9th, 10th I used to play districts, doubles, singles, and then by the time I was applying, I had played district and I had won, I think so, bronze in badminton. So badminton played a very important role, and there's a thing telling them that you played badminton, and there's a thing telling them that you played badminton and what all things you learned from
Learn
it.
from them.
It's because they at the end they look at your personality and what things you learn from the things you have done in the past.
Right.
So third was badminton. Second one was obviously because I was planning for business major, so I showed them that I had done a entire business model, because in grade 10th when COVID was there, I used to go to the office where, so my father has a business of steel. So I used to go in the office, roam around, look at how things are done. And then as and on time passed, I gained experience. And then one major thing that our business was facing was that we weren't able to cater to the small vendors that were outside our city, Lucknow. So I used to go there and roam around and then interact with vendors and then convince them to sell our product to them. So obviously I wrote that in my application, and then through that the university, I'm sure they must have learned that yeah, he has interest in sales, and so
So,
that's
so
why.
it's a very important point. So the subject you are applying to, you need to show passion about that
Yeah,
subject,
exactly.
right? So, and he did almost like an internship with his father, and he created a business plan which helped him a lot.
Yeah.
For both ways, helped in the admission as well as it made clear to you as well that okay, this is what you want to study.
Yeah.
And secondly, extracurricular side, it's as you mentioned, in University of California there are 20 places, and Common App there are 10 places where you can enter your activities. But he remembers the top three because the thing is, it's not about the quantity; it's about the quality of activities that you have done. And many students, they do make this
Yep.
mistake that they'll have a huge list of 20 activities, which makes no sense. It's not related to the subject they want to study. It's not adding anything to the profile, and still just for the sake of mentioning they do that. So it's very important to do keep focus on the quality of the things you are doing, because that's also my next question, because it becomes very difficult to manage all these things. And when you are also appearing for your board exams and everything, you have to appear for a high school. So how did you manage and the application process and everything?
Well, it was a bit rough on me when I first joined Edu abroad in grade 11. So I remember in the first meeting, you told me that what all things should be done to actually meet the criteria of applying to the US. And
Right.
that night, I was scared that I have to do so many things. So yeah, when I first started, I remember I was planning for SAT, I was planning for my
Right.
APs. So one major advice that I would give is that try giving your SATs and APs or any other competitive exam, for example IELTS, that you're planning to give to apply to the US or the UK. Try doing that in grade 11, so that in grade 12 you could focus on your half yearlies. Half yearlies are very important because on the basis of your half yearlies or the midterms, if that's said on your school, so on the basis of the midterm, you will get the predicted marks, because your board marks, they do matter, but they don't matter while you're applying for the college, because your half yearlies or the midterms and then your predicted marks would go. So I would say leave your grade 12th for your academics, and like I'm not saying leave your grade 11th also, but then try focusing more on the
Yeah,
SATs,
you're more,
APs,
much
and
more
building your
relaxed.
profile if
Right.
you haven't done so in grade 9th and 10th. So
Right.
try building your profile in grade 11th, and then if you think that yeah, I have done a lot of things that I could show, try focusing on your academics in grade 12. So that is.
That's a very valuable advice,
Yep.
actually, and a very practical approach for applying abroad.
Mhm.
So you should try and complete all your exams and everything in class 11th, profile building part, and 12th you should focus on, especially tackle the half yearlies, because your predicted grades are going to depend on that. That's a very important point. So when you heard that you've got admission from BU, how did you feel? What was your experience, and
Well,
how
I
did your family
clearly
react?
remember the time. So it was around 4:45 a.m. in the morning, and I was sleeping because in Boston it was around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So obviously they were sending the applications, the rejections or the acceptance to whoever had applied. So I had applied 82 in BU. So I got my acceptance around on 8th March. I clearly remember the day. So I was sleeping. I don't know why. I am a very sound sleeper, but I don't know why something just woke me up, and I checked my phone and I got an email from BU that it didn't say that I was accepted. It just said that there's an update on the portal. Kindly see
Okay.
it. So I knew that either I'm accepted or I'm rejected. So I need to check it. So I was then I opened the portal and then I saw the congratulations and everything. Then I went running to my mom. She was actually up at that time because my sister's unit tests were going on. So they were preparing for that early in the morning. So I just slammed the door and went running to my mom, and then I said that I'm accepted in BU. And then both of us we ran to our dad's room where he was sleeping, woke him up, and then told him that yeah, I'm accepted to BU. So that was a feeling that, like, it was like the entire 2 years process. It finally is paying off, and now I'm able to think more clearly. Because before that, my mind was preoccupied with stuff with either I'm going to be in BU, I'm going to be in the UK, I'm going to be like you. you won't be able to think properly until and unless you get into university.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Because it's always at
It's
the back of
yeah,
your
you're
mind.
always
Getting
preoccupied with
updated.
that stuff.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So, how's America treating you? How are you? You feel comfortable in Boston?
So Boston is under Massachusetts, which
Right.
is, and Massachusetts is the safest state in US.
Okay.
So when I was going to US, so one of the major drawbacks that why people don't apply to US is the safety, because
Safety.
the guns and the law surrounding the guns. It's not that safe, but it's very
You
safe
don't
in
need a
Massachusetts.
license.
Yeah, you don't need a license, but it's very safe in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is the safest state in the US. So knowing that, I had a relief in my mind that yeah, I could roam around freely.
Right.
And personally, I didn't have any had or have any experiences relating to where I felt uncomfortable or I felt like I wish I was in India or something like that. But yeah, US is treating me very well. One drawback is that if you are going to the major cities like Boston, New York, or California, then the thing is that everything is very expensive. And one drawback that I faced was that I used to compare and convert everything from dollar to the Indian rupee. Yeah, and so that is something that in the first 1 month or so you will overcome. So that was a drawback that I faced in the US, but then rest everything it's very good. The culture is good. People are nice. They are friendly. So yeah, overall it's
Because many students they come to me and they are like, we feel UK is closer by, we should go to UK over USA because USA is not safe. This is a very common perception here in India. So, but you feel ki, US is it's very safe and
I mean, it's not like you can just drive down to the UK, just unlike US. So you
yeah,
already,
obviously
yeah,
distances
you
distances a
have
thing,
to
but
take a
a
eight
safety
nine hour
point.
flight. Yeah,
Yeah, but I think the academic structure and everything is well worth
yep.
going to the US because
Mhm.
if I remember, you told me about the data analyst classes that you are taking
Yeah.
and you are pursuing it, but though you didn't have computers in your class 11.
So that's a topic to
Yeah.
talk about. So in my first semester, I was exploring things, and I went there as a business major. So I had a lot of friends who were doing a business major along with a minor in CS or TS data science, or they were doing dual degree. So obviously, when you look at people around them, you interact with them, you explore new things, and then I dropped computer science after grade 8th.
Okay.
But then I talked to my professors, and then I set up meetings with the counselors over there, and they were like, "It's fine. The courses there are built for people who are starting from scratch. Even like if you don't have physics, chemistry, bio in your grade 9th and 10th, there are courses built over there who will like start you from the very beginning and develop you in the course of 4 years so that you achieve the thing that you are."
Right. And data science it's a very happening field.
Mm-hmm.
And
So about
yeah.
talking about data science, so when I came back to India in December last year, and then I explored data science, and I took one class. It was called DS 100. It was the very beginning of data science. I took that class, and we had a grace period of 2 weeks after joining the class to drop the class if you don't like it. And I think so after 10 days, I dropped the class because I understood it was not my cup of tea. And the professors and the counselors, they were so helpful over there that they, instead of demotivating me or telling me that you have lost 2 credits or 3 credits, they used to push me further to take these classes instead and then explore new things and stuff like that. So now I've taken a CS class because in my second semester I explored a lot of new things about CS, Python. Plus they have built the business course also in a way where Python is used. So I was like, if I'm learning Python, then why not actually do CS?
Right.
So now I'm currently planning to do a minor in CS, although I'm not declared yet, but I have taken CS classes in the next semester as well. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like when there you and it's very flexible in the US
Mhm.
curriculum. You can pick your major minor, you can change them very easily. In fact, when you apply, you can also mention that undecided. I haven't decided my
Mhm.
major or the main course I want to go in, and so it's a very flexible system of education. You can sit through classes, you can explore the courses, and then take your future course of action. So this brings to our almost our last question. Ki, what are your future plans? What do you want to do after this? What are you planning?
Okay, so for that, you need to understand the geography of where Boston University is. So BU is situated on the bank of River Charles.
Right.
On the right side is Boston University, and on the left side is Harvard and MIT. And my dorm, it faces towards Harvard. So every day I get up, I look at my window, and I see Harvard over there. And that is my future goal, that obviously after doing this like job for 1 or 2 years, I need to apply for MBA in the Harvard Business School. And my major goal is that to get into an MBA program in Harvard Business School. Yep. And that's the reason why I chose Boston, because if you're surrounded with people who like are into Harvard or like MIT or BU or Northeastern, and you interact with them or you see things around you, so you get motivated to get things done and then move on and things like that. Yeah. Mhm.
So, just to close this session, if you have any tips for the students who are applying abroad, who are planning to study abroad, especially USA, what's your advice to them?
Well, never give in to the pressure, because in grade 11th I faced a lot of pressure. Like I had the pressure of giving APs, SATs, IELTS. Always chalk out what you want to get done. So always know your priority. Like if your priority is giving the SAT, go ahead, give the SAT. If your priority is giving the APs, go ahead, give the APs. So you need to get your priorities done. If you know, if you think that you have a good set of extracurriculars in your grade 9th and 10th, then focus on your academics in grade 11th and 12th. If you don't think that you don't have very good grades in good extracurricular in 9th, and then focus on extracurricular on 11th, and then focus on your academics in grade 12th. So time management and never give into the pressure. And even like if uh, what I used to think of applying to college is as a very huge process where SAT is a part of it, AP is a part of it, academics is a part of it. So if you get good marks in SATs, a lot of people would get overconfident and then lose into the pressure, and then they wouldn't score good in AP or they wouldn't score good in their boards. So like don't give up until you land in the US and get into the college. Yeah.
Right, huh? Because the visa is also very
Yep.
important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, that's what I would like to ask. How was your visa experience? Because many people are very scared, okay, facing the visa interview.
I think so. It's very overhyped. The visa process entire, like obviously except the documentations, the interview and the biometrics. Biometrics, nothing. You just need to go there and actually give your thumbprints. But the interview, like the people in the US embassy, they're not stupid. They know who is genuine and who is not.
Right.
So they study your documents, and if they think that you're a good person, you're going there for study, and you don't have any criminal intentions, then they, for example, for me, my interview was like, "What's your name, Abhi? What's your major? Who is sponsoring your education?" That's it. Your visa is accepted.
Wow.
They
That's so smooth.
yeah, exactly. There were three questions, and then because there were a lot of people who would have taken much more time in the interview, so like they need to clear up the people who they know that they would be like fine in the US. Yeah,
they know what they are
exactly.
doing. That's
So
great.
as far as your documentations are good and your intentions are good, I don't think so you need to be scared about the visa process. Mhm.
Because many students are worried because there is an interview in UK, there's an
Uh-huh.
interview, so they are like, "Ki, pata nahi hoga, nahi hoga," and say, I
Uh-huh.
think it's an overhype. So we have few questions here, Ravi.
Mhm.
So the first is, what is the application deadline for Boston University?
I think so. It was the end of November. As
Yeah,
far as
yeah. So
Yep.
there are different models. There's ED1,
ED2. I applied ED2, so ED1 was end of November and ED2 was 18th December. The deadline. Yep.
And then the final deadline is in January. 5th
Yeah,
January.
5th, yeah.
For you, it was 5th January.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between early decision and regular decision? See, I'll answer this. Early decision, if you are sure that okay, you want to go in for a particular university, then you can go in for an early decision, as Abir went for. And then there are ED1 and ED2 rounds. Abir went for ED2 round. So, but in some universities, it's binding. So that's why you need to be very clear whether you want to go apply for ED. By binding, it means ki then you have to join that particular university and you have to take you have to then you can't apply to any other university, and the basis where you have already applied, you have to withdraw your application. So that's very critical that you are clear that Abhi was clear, I want to go to BU, so he went for ED decision. But if you're not clear, you want to keep the options open, then go in for a regular decision. The next question is from Saranj. I am an above average student. How should I prioritize my application process?
It depends entirely on which grade you are in currently. For example, if you are grade 11 and you are an above average student in academics, so you need to focus more on your extracurriculars for now. But if you are in grade 12th, I think so your extracurriculars and your profile should be built by now, and then you need to focus on your half yearlies and then your graded marks.
Right.
Yeah.
So Kunal is asking, what is the average GPA and test score for some admitted students?
Okay, so BU is known for grade deflation. This is what I heard when I was going to BU. grade deflation basically means if you're getting a B plus in a subject, so to get the class average where they want it to be, they deflate your grades to a B or a B minus from a B plus. But then when I actually went there and when I noticed that, yup, the professors are good and grade deflation is not actually a thing in BU. So the average GPA in BU, I would say, is around 3.3. Yeah, it actually depends on your major as well, because computer science, it's a bit more difficult and the exams are a bit more challenging. So the average GPA is around 3.2 to 3.4. For business majors, it could be 3.4 to 3.5. For com majors, the College of Communication, it could be 3.5 to 3.6. It entirely depends on what your major is.
So minimum 3.4 is what you are looking at out of 4.
If you want to stand a chance on getting good jobs after your life in BU, you need to get a GPA above 3.6 or 3.7. Yeah. Yeah, it's very competitive over there. Yeah, because there are a lot of people and the jobs are limited,
Yeah.
because you know US, how the US market is
Right.
and the economy is. So you need to be on your top 15 or 20% of your class. Yeah.
Next question is, how can I manage cultural shock or homesickness?
So that the time is the best answer for that. So when I went there, so obviously there was a lot of homesickness. I used to talk with my mom on video call daily, at least 2 times a day. But then as and when time you get engrossed in your studies, extracurriculars, you make friends over there. Yeah, you don't get time to think about that you are homesick. So yeah, as and when time passes, it gets fine eventually. Yeah. And then there are a lot of activities you should take part in, the activities that are going on in the college. Like the more engrossed you are, the more better you will feel.
Right.
Yeah.
So Tane is asking, is there any advantages of starting early because the deadlines are on till February?
Starting early on an application.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your extracurriculars are done and you think your application is ready to go, then why not? You should apply early, because then
Yes.
you will take after that you'll take time to write your essays, and the more time you get to write your essays, the better it is. Because once you submit your common app essay, then there would be essays that you that would be college focused. For example, I had to write around 3 or 4 essays for BU, 3 for like San Diego, 3 for like every university. There are
Yes.
specified set of essays that you need to write. So it's better if you complete your application early, so that after that you get enough time to submit your essays and think about them, because essays is a very crucial part of your application. Your application could be like 99, 98 marks, very good extracurriculars, but if your essays, the way you're conveying your message, if it's the presentation,
That's
the way
very
you're
important.
presenting your profile, it matters a lot.
Yeah. So starting early in both the cases, right? Starting your profile building, and that part also I suggest you should start in class 9, because many students, when they choose the subject, they drop mathematics, they drop science, and for the American admission, it's very important to have science and math subjects in class 9.
Exactly.
Because their system is slightly different. They have a set of 16 subjects where they say, okay, you should have studied over from class 9th till class 12th. So say ki, okay, you should have studied 4 subjects, 4 years of English language, 4 years of some courses they ask for 4 years of mathematics, or at least 2 years of mathematics, 2 years of science, social studies, international language. So if they want to see your overall profile over not just academic, the extracurricular profile as well over 4 years. So it's very important to start in class 9. And application process, the sooner you start, you'll have more time to focus on your board exams. That's also very important. And if you apply early, then the chances of getting admission, the probability also increases. If you look at the ED1, ED2, even competitive institutions like Harvard, where the success rate is 4%, they say if you go in for an ED round, then the chances increases to 7%. So it's almost 7.2%, almost double. So it's always better if you're sure, if you're clear that you want to apply to these institutions, start as early as possible, the preparation part as well as the application part. So this brings to our last question. This is 10 days enough to gauge if something is right for you?
I didn't understand that.
Couldn't understand what they I don't know what means by that. Maybe I think she's asking about the experience there.
Like the first 10 days in the
First 10 days,
universities?
maybe, I think
No,
so.
I don't think so. You at least need 1 month to actually experience the university life, like going to the frats, going to various events in the university, interacting with the seniors, your batchmates, and especially interacting with international students. That gives a lot of different perspectives. So I don't think so that could be done within a span of 10 days. You at least need around 1 or 2 months to actually understand what's going on in your life in
Right.
university. Yeah.
Right. So there's one more question on the time we were discussing. There are a few more questions. Is Boston University test optional?
Yeah, it is test
That
optional.
time
After
it
COVID, a
was,
lot of
yeah.
universities went test optional, but it's always better to give your SATs and your APs and then apply, because obviously you get a upper hand while you apply.
Right. And now, from 26 application onwards, most of the universities are going to ask for SAT.
Yeah,
Many universities, MIT, Harvard, they have made it clear already on their website. In fact, MIT has already said, even though we are test optional, SAT score is very important for our
exactly.
selection process. So when we are talking about these competitive universities, I think SAT and AP exams are very important. So is the Boston University, okay, this we have done. What financial options are available?
So I don't know about other universities, but for BU, for international students, it's very limited. You either get a trustee scholarship, which is 100% scholarship, or you get a presidential scholarship, which is like they pay your tuition, but your living expenses they don't pay. So there are only two scholarships, and you can apply for those scholarships while you are submitting your college application, and then there's a set of essays that you have that you have to write, and then they take your interview, and then there's a different round of things that you have to do. I'm not very well aware of that because I didn't apply for scholarship, but like my friends who have applied for scholarship are in BU currently, and those who have the trustee scholarship, they like tell me that there are 4 or 5 rounds of interviews and essay writing and after your college application. So yeah, it's obviously a bit more difficult. So, but for international students, there are not a lot of options in BU, but like in the state-owned universities, there are a lot of options for scholarships.
Right, right. There are many scholarships need based and
Yeah.
many scholarships available in
Mm-hmm.
US. So thank you, Abir. Thank you for such
Thank
an
you. Thank you for having me.
insightful session. No, it was my pleasure, always a pleasure to meet you, interact with you. And I'm sure today all those who have joined us must have been many have learned a lot of things about US as an application process, the Boston University. But if you have any questions, you can always message us or contact Edu Abroad. We are always happy to help you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.